is going on, guys? This is your boy, Mr. TDM. People call me Timor, and I am making a video on how basically, it's my opinion on the new Civic Type R E or FK8, and we've seen all the videos on the reviews on how well it performed, how it is on the street, ergonomics, does it live up for the Type R legacy. So we all know that it's a good car, and depending on where you get it from, don't get it at a marked up price by 10K plus, but it's a good value for what you're getting into, and it's already hold its target time on the Nürburgring as the fastest front-wheel drive. It's a Honda, and what about the opinions of the guys that actually work on, their car? And don't mind the lighting, but this is so you guys can see, because I want to open up the garage. I'm in Orlando, Florida, because of Irma, so just killing time really and prepping at the same time. So because on the top of my head I can't remember what all it does. Visually looking at the Civic Type R, me personally, I love it. I like the way how it looks. I'm a autocross guy. I always been an autocross guy. It's just that lately, for the past 3 years, I've been sucked up for Mexico runs, road racing, go to the track, drag track, just Mexico really. Just looking at the Civic Type R, the lines, the way how aggressive it is, you're getting yourself into a serious car when you purchase it. Well, there shouldn't even be an excuse on why you think the Type R is a daily commuter. That said, the reviews stated on normal mode, it's very friendly, or it's comfortable. The seats is phenomenal versus the bucket seats of a typical race car or racing type of performing car. The way how the power is delivered, compared to like say a WRX STI or a Focus RS, all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive, there's no comparison. I've been in an all-wheel drive car. I know how it feels, and you feel near indestructible around corners or from the dig. I think I didn't drove it, but I think I've experienced an all-wheel drive launch, and it was a new feeling. I'm pretty sure it'll be different if, say, I drove it, but the experience will be a lot more compelling because you're performing the all-wheel drive launch versus a front-wheel drive, typical, wheel spin, Honda fashion. The way how it sounds, believe it or not, I have yet to see a Type R in person, but from the videos that I keep hearing, and I've seen a video on the one Type R has a cat delete and a muffler and cat delete, along with compared with a stock one, and the one with the muffler delete, cat delete. It actually sounds a lot. It sounds better, but I won't say it's nothing like the old school K series. With a typical turbo, high rev / deep throaty. It sounds deep, but depending on, usually if it's like a hood exit, it sounds like a diesel. That's the best way I can explain it. I like the way how it looks. Stock, it sounds okay. It's tolerable, but everybody been bashing it the way it's. I think what it is it's not the old school typical high throaty or high pitch Honda sound. Compare that to say a stock or an NA S2000 with an exhaust. That deep, iconic, low VTEC crossover, and it's a racing motor. Honda F20C1. I mean, it lived up to Honda's development, performing motor. It's, to me, honestly, I like the way how it's tolerable. I don't have no complaints on how it sounds. And again, this is my opinion. Hopefully the viewers that's watching this video would at least agree with some of the things that I'm saying. If you don't agree, please comment on it. I'm not trying to do this for a whole bunch of views. I feel that for a guy who's doing just an enthusiast, this is just an enthusiast opinion on the way how the Civic Type or the current generation Honda's performing platforms are coming. The CTR FK8. I love the way how it looks. Like I said, I like the way how it sounds in videos. Again, I haven't seen one in person, but they did a whole bunch of videos. Always say this: does it live up to the Honda legacy? And they say yes. And personally, I think so too. I haven't owned a Type R, but I have friends of a Type R platform, old school Type DC2, right-hand, an authentic DC2 Type R imported from Japan to here, and that thing was a driver's car. The latest Type R that I've ever been in was my buddy. Shout out to Kevin Type R. We call him ITR because it was a full-on, when it was in a full-on ITR swap in his RSX. It's the power, everything. There's a reason why they call it a Type R. Red line, the way how it sounds, it's raw. That said, the new Civics, new Civic Type R, I believe, and from looking at the videos, and I mean, seeing is believing, right? It's the fastest Nürburgring time front-wheel drive currently, so there's a reason why the hype is there. So how about the pricing and the videos about K-swap EGs, DC for DC, the old school Integras, other cars. They are breakfast time. They are beating the Civic on a road race. Honestly, how about you just do it on the track, because the Type R is made for the track. The hate is strong in the community about the Type Rs, and I don't understand why they bash the thing. And it's primarily the kids that are the typical go to the car meets and they just want to race, road racers. Nothing wrong with that. I'm stuck in a phase right now, but this car, the wife's car, should I say, will be the track car. And again, that's what I originally wanted to do for when I had my S2000. Um, but back to the topic on the hate. I think what it is, and I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the cats that are hateful. Um, it's if the Type R, I think in their mindset, if the Type R is, oh my God, it's fast on the track, then what about the street? It should be good, right? The chassis is so good that it doesn't tumble on itself. Almost like the AP1 S2000 or the Type R variant of Integra Type R. The FD2, my personal favorite Civic Type R. You would assume that on the straight it'll do good, but look at it in the realistic point of view. You're in a lighter chassis, old school Hondas, EG, EK, DC, 4s, EFs even. The power to weight ratio, and anybody that drives on, even a novice, they'll, from driving whatever car, or if they even been in a different type of car and then they drive in a old school Honda, they'll feel a bit more G's because the power to weight, the weight in the car is nearly non-existent compared to like heavier, newer style cars. They got like safety features, more sound deadening, tougher materials, heavier materials. Everything is bigger and made safe for this day and era. The old school Civics, I mean, it's basically technology. It's back in the day, it was okay for that standard. This generation, the standard is side airbags, back airbags, the crash rating. You have to have a tougher material to strengthen the chassis. But even so, like the old school Civics and S2000 and Acura brand, they do all right in the crash tests, but it was for that standard. Just moving with technology, man. And honestly, the Civic Type R is a big car compared to, I think I've seen a picture of the EK9 along with the EK chassis and the old school JDM Type R Integra K-Tune. You probably seen this video too. They done a little road test on track test on the EK and DC along with the FK8. The way how it looks. I mean, the car is 20-inch wheels equipped, so you would think for an old school Civic that's way too big, but in this day and era, the car is so big, 20-inch rims complements the car. And again, I like the way how it looks. Don't bash me. I'm not a racer. I think I'm not a racer. I'm more of a functional type of guy. I respect all types of stance. I respect stance. Some stance car look good, but if it's like slammed to the ground, dragging his ass on the road and scraping, I mean, I respect the builder's opinion. It's just that I wouldn't rock that. I rock a low car, but honestly, with the things that I do, and it's important to respect the things that I do. Just a nice low ride height and call it a day. The Civic, honestly, you can probably lower it by another inch or so and it'll be good. The car is so big and the suspension is so dampening suspension, dampening control suspension. I don't know how to say it. I got the book right here. Dampening control. It's just dampens the road. Honestly, if it does good on the track, then any more mods or suspension mods is just, there's a thing called overkill. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing, right? And I don't own one, so I shouldn't say it, but again, it's my opinion, Honda from factory, they set it as the car is to perform well for what it is, and that's what we got. A beast on the Nürburgring, and everybody knows in the track world, the Nürburgring is green hell, toughest track, one of the toughest track in the world. So let's move on to say the specs of the current FK8. All right, so the current FK8. So there's two variants, from my understanding, in the USDM model. Is the old school FK2 horsepower rating, 306 horses or 305 when the first one came out, and 295 pounds for the torque. In this current model, the FK8 is the same, 306 and 295 pounds for the torque. Basically, it's the motor, the drivetrain, the power plant is the same, but it's the chassis is what sets it apart from the FK2. And from my understanding on the European reviews, their variant of the FK8 has more power. I think it's 10 horsepower. It doesn't talk about it in here, but 10 more horsepower than the previous model, the FK2. And honestly, I could respect that Honda might have gave the FK8 more power over there than over here, because I mean, hell, the first model FK series debuted over there, so it's just natural to like, okay, well, we already have a model out. How about we send another model out and excuse me, increase the power? And I think that's what they did, or money too. But honestly, with technology and Honda, ECUs and whatnot, I don't know how the tuning aspects of the FK series are, but I do have a blog that I keep reading since I've been tagged in, from a guy that actually owns FK8 here in the States. But I'll get into that later on to the video. There's no other trim model for the CTR, but starting price is $34K, $35K basically. It's a dual overhead cam, 16 valve, inline front motor, front wheel drive. Red line is 7,000 RPM, and honestly, that's not too far off from what this thing NA did. Just a grand and a few change off of red line, and personally, I can live with that. 306 horsepower at 6,500 and 295 pounds for the torque. Now, this is where the enthusiasts, opinions start coming out from a guy who got a K24 hybrid, and I have a K20 Z3, and the original motor was a K20 Z1. The power, it's a very peppy, or even the AP1s. The power output, you gotta rev the engine high, close to red line. Not really close to red line, but in the upper RPMs. When VTEC engagement crosses over, it's 6,000 RPM, I want to say, stock for this thing. And I mean, it's tuned and whatnot, but 4,000 usually is the crosshair of a Honda Flash or K-Tuner, Haltech. 4,000 seems to be a universal thing that you want to do if you have a aftermarket ECU. So, but in order for us to NA wise, at the time when this car was NA, you have to rev the engine up a bit more to get the power. Now that Earth Dreams Honda Earth Dreams motor, the torque from this Dyno Graph, I'll try my best to show you. torque curve is lower than it was previously. Say this is my old Dyno Graph. My torque curve is hella, late-ish, and it's not even, if you can see the torque, it's there, but power dwarfs the torque curve, and with the emissions and all things environmentally friendly, the organization. I mean, hell, that's why most, if not all of the, excuse me again, all of the manufacturers are switching to turbocharged applications to shoot better emission and potentially, it's the future. It's not even really the future, but they had turbo cars back in the day. It was just expensive. In this day and age, from my opinion, I guess it's mandatory from what the regulations, the government, the emission EPA, or all those environmentalists are pushing. I mean, hell, you see like the drastic increase of hybrid petrol motor vehicles. Hell, look at the NSX, the LaFerrari, the new Porsche, the McLaren LP1. They're just moving, just like what I explained earlier in the video on the old school Honda technology, old techs, and trying to meet the standard. Right now, the standard is, well, currently, if you're, so far they don't kill the petrol industry. Oh man, I can't even talk. Edit. The automotive industry is moving. Turbocharge for petrol is the way to go, man. That said, like I explained with the Dyno Graph, the power is, or the torque curve is a lot sooner, and it kind of stays there from what I've just seen. And then it's somewhat dripped down closer to redline. Torque in a Honda is unheard of. Hell, my torque to power ratio is, compared to this, the new Civic Type R, it beats it. Newer technology. It's a K family, but it's just an overall, in my opinion, enthusiast. Not saying you guys should take heed of my wording, but I think it's just a better motor in terms of the torque. Now I noticed there's a few videos, and even with the FK2 that's floating around, the exhaust side in the front of the motor is like integrated to the engine. In terms of aftermarket support, and this is what I'm going to get into, what the FK2 in Europe has, what they've done. The aftermarket support of that, I mean, it's a Civic, so it's going to be there, but if you're trying to do it like the old school K series, it's going to be a little bit trickier. Hell, it's similar in the ways of the new K24s out of the 9th gen Civics. And honestly, I mean, if it's turbocharged, upgrade on the turbo, it's gonna make power regardless. Honda designed the cylinder head in such a way that it should, in theory, meet the demands of what the tuner or the enthusiast is trying to do in mind. That's just my opinion. I mean, hell, we've seen what the K series can do over 10 plus years now. Just a matter of time until the the K20C the new generation K series do, especially now that it's turbocharged. And again, it's unheard of for a Honda to have torque. And Jesus Christ, that's quite a bit of torque. And I've seen on other videos that people already dyno stock K20C1. Obviously, it's haven't been on the market over here too long, but the power to torque compared to what's on paper is there. I ain't gonna say exactly there, but what I say, 306. I think the last video I've seen was 280 some odd, and that was when it was heat soak and the fan wasn't on, and etc. etc. A lot of variables, so it's pretty damn close. Yeah, I personally like the Civic Type R. Okay, the last part of the video I'll get into is the aftermarket support. So in the European model, the FK2, the F20C1, there's a video, there's a dyno sheet on a application. It's stock turbo, by the way. Nothing's been done to the motor wise, but a bigger downpipe. They did something with the air box, the induction box, exhaust, and I think they upgrade, or they have a bigger fuel injection, and I'll possibly put it in the picture on of the Dyno Graph, but it's closer. I think it's like 550 horsepower and it's something. It's in a different language, and rather than saying horsepower, they do the Newton meters scaling. But I'll put that in the description. So seeing that, I mean, looking at the Dyno Graph versus the stock base graph of the the F20C motor, I mean, seeing is believing. On that dyno sheet is proven that these motors have yet to be unlocked. So give it time. I mean, in the American model is fairly new. Give it time. It'll until the tuners start cracking codes and whatnot. Honda, I'm sure they probably already got a test mule and making crazy power, and they haven't even released it to the public yet. But just give it time. I'm sure the new Civic Type R's will please the haters. Well, at least that's what it did with the B series guys when the newer K came out of nowhere, and then K reigned supreme, right? So other than that, that's my little opinion.